Would you be open to making this one of the most rewarding times of your life? This is an amazing opportunity for us to become more of who we have chosen to be as human beings.
Hi, I'm Rev Neusom from the Unity of the Triangle community, and we are here to invite you to a new series.
We're exploring self-acceptance and love so that we might be at peace no matter what is happening.
Join us every Sunday at 9 and 11.
As we become more accepting, we will find that all our suffering is leading us into a sense of grace and fulfillment.
God bless you, child, if you got your own. Got your own life I live when I'm away. So let's go there. Let's make our escape. Let's
Right
go.
makes right, so there ain't no use to fight. Kept fighting back for years, 'cause our land is here.
Water is wide, I cannot cross over, and neither have I wings to fly. Falling on my head, just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed. Nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head. I met a man without a dollar to his name, who had no traits of any value but his smile. I met a man who had no yearning. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love.
Seems like overnight, she up and she put me down. I ain't gonna let it bother me today. I'm working it again.
You better duck down the alleyway, looking for a new friend. The man in the coonskin cap and big pen. With $11 bills, you only got 10.
kitchen had just opened up the fridge. I stood there for the longest time, wondering why I did. Couldn't think of a single reason, so I finally closed the door. Then I wondered what I put in there. And did I want some more?
Senior.
When all the lights are off, boom-de-yada, 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 I-yada, boom-de-yada, I-yada, boom-de-yada, I love nothing at all in my head to say to you, only the beat of the train I'm on. Nothing I've learned all my life on the way to you, only I love.
How can I explain when there are few words I can choose? How can I explain when words
I'm living my life, I'm carefree and cool, doing my job like I'm nobody's fool, when suddenly the light opens inside.
and the living is easy?
He come on flat top, he come grooving up slowly. He got juju eyeballs, he won't hold you.
Would you be open to making this one of the most rewarding times of your life? This is an amazing opportunity for us to become more of who we have chosen to be as human beings.
Hi, I'm Revana, and he's Rev Neusom from the Unity of the Triangle community, and we're here to invite you to a new series.
We're exploring self-acceptance and love so that we might be at peace no matter what is happening.
Join us every Sunday at 9 and 11.
As we become more accepting, we will find that all our suffering is leading us into a sense of grace and fulfillment.
Good morning, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm here because today we were really moved to start this service today with prayer. Prayers do matter. When we connect at that level, we open up to so many possibilities that are always sitting and waiting for us to claim them. So before I get to that, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath, maybe with still eyes open. Come to your heart space and set an intention for this service. What is it that you're willing or receptive to give and receive? We might not be in the physical building together to experience one another's energy and faith and prayers. We are reminded of that this morning, that prayers and love transcend. And when we see out there what the world is manifesting or showing for us, we come back to the center to experience grace. So let's do that now. You may close your eyes and just simply welcome grace into your heart experience. Just be reminded that anything we're looking for, it's already in us. So whatever your soul needs to experience, open up to your divine presence and let that divinity in you refill you with the deepest needs of your soul. So together we experience the love that we are, the peace that is our divine and natural state, the power and the light. And we let it be together. And we hold the highest for ourselves and for our families and for the American people and for every citizen of the world. And we offer this service today on behalf of all of us, knowing that God's work is done beautifully now and always. Thank you for saying yes to this time. Blessings. And so it is.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. I once was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught me and that same grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear. the hour when I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already safely come. His grace hath brought me safe thus far, and surely grace will lead me home. I shall go home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the glorious sun, we've known as days to sing God's praise. And since the day we first begun, then since the day we first begun.
We begin this Sunday, fortunately, with Anna saying a beautiful prayer, and now we've had music, and so we're off to a good start. I want to say that this is a time that has proven to be quite difficult for some people. For some people, it's because they have not enough interaction, and other people, like mothers who are taking care of their children at home, keeping a job and a family together, it's too much. And so what works for one may not work for the other, but we thought we would try to address this time of pandemic as part of the last mile, bringing the conscious ideas into our own being so that they become real for us.
And I remember, Newsom, when you first did the promo on this series, that you did say something really powerful. This can be a really rewarding time.
Yeah.
And we have the power to decide. It doesn't matter whether we have a lot or not enough to do. We can decide what it can be.
Yeah. So we will work on deciding today, and I look forward to the rest of the service. And so let's begin with prayer.
Yes.
Each year we train a new team of volunteer prayer chaplains to offer you one-on-one prayer and to support our members each month in a monthly prayer call. These prayer chaplains receive and complete almost 30 hours of training, and they commit to 1 year of service. This past week, we inducted the following team as your new prayer chaplains. Janice Sears, the team leader. Quincy Garbutt. Barbara Johnson. Josette Wright Lacey. Deborah Mack. Tim Oak. Connie Seitz. Pauline Solentic. Linda Tate. And myself, Mimi Lohmiller. Even during this time of isolation and uncertainty, this dedicated team is still available to pray with you. During this time of limited mobility and activity, we have an opportunity to become pilgrims. That is, we can take an inner journey where we embrace the strangeness and the unknown. So let's take an inner pilgrimage through prayer. Let us pray. With a willingness to explore deep into the recesses of the light and shadow parts of our being, we call forth the holiest and the most sacred presence of the one presence and the one power, which is the heart of God beating within each of our own hearts. We affirm this holy presence is accompanying us on our sacred inner journey to discover the mystery and the wonder within us and beyond the time and distance. We open to new experiences as our journey leads us to the gift of inner transformation. Our pilgrimage calls us to embrace the discomfort of the unknown and to walk to the edge of change so as to awaken to and experience new ways of being. Wisdom and grace reveals itself to us more fully when we sit in the quiet stillness and patiently wait to hear and know our inner longings and our inner divinity. As a spiritual community, we set the intention to hold a sacred space for every name in this prayer box and for each other as we journey both alone and together on an inner sacred pilgrimage. We rest in the stillness and the peace of the divine, feeling hopeful and full of gratitude for everything. And so we let it be. Amen.
As we move into meditation, let's adjust the body so that you might feel comfortable, but still remain alert. And we'll do the body relaxation for a few moments. So starting at the top of the head, just imagine that the crown of the head is relaxing, and that relaxation is coming down over your face, the back of the head. It comes down over your jaw and your neck. The top of the shoulders, the relaxation comes. Let the arms, the hands relax. Let the breath be deeper and let the belly relax. Let the lower back relax. Let the hips and the thighs, the knees, the ankles and the feet relax. Let the breath be deeper and start at the top of the head again and imagine warmth, relaxation coming over the top of the head, relaxing the body. Let the eyes relax and the nose and the nostrils and the sinuses relax. Let the tongue relax. Let your lungs relax. Let your heart relax. Let the organs relax. Let all the blood vessels relax. And the muscles. And again, starting at the top of the head, let us imagine that now we can relax our minds. So let us let our minds relax. And the eyebrows, the forehead, let that relax. Let the mind relax and let the being be at peace. And let your being expand. Expand and fill the space around you. there be space between your thoughts. But let the heart open. And bring the breath to the center of the chest so that the heart might open more fully. Let the space around you be filled with that love or the energy of the heart. Let us say a blessing for the world around us. All that is immediate in our life, our spaces, our people, our responsibilities. Let us say a blessing for those. And now for the people around us, let us say a blessing for their spaces and for their responsibilities and the people around them. And may this wave of blessing go out into the world. Feel your heart opening. Now pay attention to this experience, but more importantly, to the one who's experiencing this. Feel into this I am person, this being that you are. And again, let there be space between your thoughts. Let us sit in this space, being the awareness, being the I without other. As we sit together in silence.
Give
this day. This
For the past 2 weeks, we've been talking about the last mile, and that last mile being the movement of good ideas or consciousness or thoughts into our deepest self so that they become natural and part of us, become integrated with us, and actually become our habituated self. So that the good that we know of has come the last mile into us. And we've been talking about how during this time of social distancing and more or less being in isolation, how this has provided us a rare opportunity to bring those thoughts into our own being. And I would like to continue that today, talking about that. One of the things I've been thinking about lately is that we are in a different, each of us have our own unique way of experiencing this time. Some of us have not enough to do. We don't have enough social interaction in particular, but in general, there's not a lot demanded upon us. And so we almost have to invent stuff to do and to create activities for ourselves. For many of us, part of the struggle of this world is this sense of isolation and that we are not engaged with others as much as we'd like, and consequently we feel a deficit. That's on one side. On the other side, there are those of us who have so much to do. I think of the mothers who are trying to teach their children at home, also manage a career, perhaps also managing a family, and all of that happening inside their house. The concentration of activity and the closeness of people may be more than they want. More activity, more people than they want. And finding a way to find a sense of solace in being quiet is their struggle. So while one idea may not fit everyone, what I'm looking for in this talk is to find the thing that will work in most situations, perhaps in both. So let me talk about this from a Course in Miracles point of view first. The Course in Miracles says this: the memory of God comes to the quiet mind. The memory of God comes to the quiet mind. Imagine that. Really, it is our mind that is the problem in this whole thing. Whether you're too busy or you're too quiet, it is the mind. It is the mind that makes solitary confinement so difficult. It is the mind that makes being in a crowd so difficult. What we think influences how the body feels. It influences what we do and how we act. And so what we think becomes the critical ingredient of our experience. It's not necessarily what's actually happening. Consider this. Take an introvert and put them in a crowded room where they have to interact with lots of different people. To them, this is a difficult thing. Their mind reacts negatively to the whole of it. Take an extrovert and put them in a crowded room, and this is heaven. It's like Brer Rabbit saying, "Please don't throw me in the briar patch." Oh my gosh. The briar patch is the natural home of the rabbit, and so it's easy for the rabbit, and it was his way of finding safety was to be thrown there. So it is with some of us who are comfortable with being alone and less comfortable with being in crowded situations. Those of us who are introverts tend to seek out only one person to talk to at a time, not everybody, and not have to be the loudest one in the room. We tend to hide. And so in that sense, sequestration is not so difficult. But for the others who like to dance and do a parrandon every once in a while, it's not so easy. So, what would be the thing that would make it work for both of them? Now I'm going to turn to St. Paul. St. Paul is not always my favorite writer. I even as a teenager, I thought the guy was a bit arrogant. He's always talking about how great he is, but he does say some good things. And so let me read from Philippians this short passage, which I think you've probably heard. Finally, beloved, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, and if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Keep on doing the things that you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, and the God of peace will be with you. It is indeed what we think about that causes our experience. So if we think about things that are disturbing, if we constantly bring our minds to that which doesn't seem to be working, if we bring our minds constantly to that which is ugly and poorly done, then we have brought our minds into a condition that is going to be unpleasant, that is going to be difficult for us, that will be harder for us to be happy in if that's what we're looking at. We have been exposed to a lot of news. I'm sure almost everybody has been exposed to a lot of news in the last 5 months of sequestration. And in that time period of being exposed to it, we could begin to focus only on that. It could be the focus of our minds and the thoughts that are in those minds, bringing a tension in the body, bringing a disturbance to the emotional field, and we could begin to feel as though the world is falling apart. And in many ways, it's not doing as well as it was before, but in some ways, it's actually doing better. I think we're beginning to address some of the social inequalities that we had before. We're certainly brought them up to the top of mind, and so there is a chance for a renewed sense of oneness among our community by recognizing where others have been ill-treated, and it's time for us to make massive change to improve it. So that's one thing. That's one case of seeing something disturbing, but also realizing that in seeing it, we're now making corrections. And so we can focus on the corrections rather than on the mistakes. And the mistakes may be many in our lives and in the lives of our society, but we focus on the positive outcomes that we want. If we focus only on the negative, then our minds get bogged down. And part of the education process for many people has been to notice what has not worked. So there is a time period for this recognition of that which is not working. But as a steady diet, or as the only food you're eating, it becomes detrimental to our happiness and our ability to perform in this world. We become weighted down by it. And so as St. Paul was saying to the Philippians, it was not an easy time for them either. He doesn't write to communities that are doing well. He generally writes to them saying, here's some things you need to correct. But he finishes his writings by saying, focus on that which is working. Bring your mind to that which is good, which is actually improving. As I think about some of the people I have talked to during this time period, it appears that they're giving themselves time to recognize themselves at a deeper level. Now, I will admit it's a double-edged sword to recognize yourself at a deeper level. Much of what we must do in this time of deepening is to recognize where we are less than beautiful and to bring that into a sense of acceptance. By that, you recognize, let's say, that you have had a temper that's been too rampant in too many places. And this recognition can cause what feels like a very uncomfortable sensation in your body, a very difficult emotion of regret and embarrassment and just the pain we might have caused. You can feel that. But if you continue to look at it, it becomes just what is to some degree. And you begin to come to recognize that you can accept that this has happened. You don't need to be in denial or underestimate its impact on others. But you can also come to a place of accepting that it has already happened. And if you continue to look more deeply, you may even find the cause of your generalized anger or emotion, whichever one it is. So you turn and look toward that which seems to be missing within yourself. And again, this may feel negative, but the outcome that we're shooting for here is something beautiful, something done in excellence. So we look to our own experience, probably from childhood, possibly repeated in other times throughout your life, that have caused you to feel that anger would be an appropriate response. Perhaps your feelings have been hurt, someone was not there for you, or you were taken advantage of, abused in some way, and we must come to the clarity of looking at that and coming as deeply into acceptance as we possibly can. When we can come to a deeper sense of acceptance of that which has caused our anger, and then say to ourselves, I'm at peace with this, and I'm okay, even though this has happened, then we begin to quiet the need to express our anger in some other place. And so this feeling into the suffering that we're having, this is part of it. It is not the pretty, and it's not the beautiful. It is the difficult work. But the beautiful comes when we have dropped into this experience, and now we bring a layer of acceptance and even loving ourselves. And as we love the one who has suffered, this child or this younger one of ourselves, as we love that one, as we hold that one in our hearts and reparent, in essence, that being inside us, the need for this one, the adult that is out in the world, to express anger and to hold resentment diminishes. It is us who need to bring love to this, to see the beauty of the inner child, to see the beauty of the younger self that was abused or failed or was embarrassed or whatever it is. Whatever the experience was, let us bring our love to that experience. And having brought love to it, then see the ripple effect of that being feeling loved. In the Course in Miracles, it says, there's no reason to fight against yourself because it is like an illusion fighting against God. That all that has happened to you can be held in the thought of this is a divine being, that you are a divine being, not one that is enabled to experience and process life, but one that is. And that you are a divine being which cannot really be harmed by anything in the outer world because you're not the body. But you transcend the body and this ego. And that as we begin to bring this deeper level of awareness, that not only can we accept and love the being that this is, but also that this being is part of this whole, which is you, which is divine, to which nothing can ultimately cause destruction. That we are actually above all the circumstances of this world. We are transcendent in a certain sense. And finding a way to bring love to that which has felt hurt and to recognize at the same time or soon thereafter that we are not just that little thing, but we are this transcendent being, and that all that we are cannot be harmed by circumstances in this life. Then we begin to set the conditions for us being at peace in almost every situation. That it doesn't trigger something grander from the past. It's only we can react appropriately in the moment. So our job is really dual. One is to go in and to feel the feelings and to love the one who's suffering. That's the first. And then also to expand our minds so that we might begin to sense, feel, and embody the truth that we are not this body, that we are not just a little thing, but we are a grand thing because we are consciousness itself. Now, to do this grand expansion, to do this consciousness itself, let me talk about that. So, relatively briefly, though, unfortunately, think of this. When you look at anything, typically our attention goes only to the object, only to the thing we're paying attention to. But if you will reserve some of your consciousness for looking at the one who's looking, to see or feel the one who is seeing and feeling. So when you're in the midst of feeling something or seeing something, you also have pulled back and are aware of the one who is looking at it. That is the beginning of this process where you begin to withdraw all your focus from the outer or from the intensity of the experience, and you begin to return back to the one who is sensing it in the first place. And once you come back to the seat of the witness, then from there, allow yourself to expand and let this witness connect with all that is. From this witness state, a connection with all that is begins to bring you into a deep sense of knowing that there's only one here. It is not on the surface that you see only one. It is in the deeper interior of your own mind. So we return from being focused on the outer experience, whether it is too much or too little to do, or the suffering, or the abundance of information coming your way. We return back to the witness, and from the witness we spread out and connect with all that is. And in many ways, you can do this with your eyes open. You just simply bring attention to yourself, to your inner self, to the one who's witnessing, and then you begin to feel out into the out to the left and to the right, to the front and the back, in all directions. And then you sit in that state of being. And sitting in that state of being, you can even, if you get good at this, you can even do your work as a being, not as a human doing. So this is one of the ways that we can use this time, which is a time in which we are in unusual circumstances, which will draw us into them without release from the driving experience of that event, unless we pull back into the witness. And from pulling back into the witness, then we can expand out and be the presence. And as this presence, you can still act. You can still, it may not be as compelling as it was before, but you can still act and do your job. And when the job draws us completely into it, or when the isolation draws us completely into it, at some point let us remember that we can pull back and watch and be. This is a practice. It is not something that most of us will get once and that will be it. But one that we can add in. Perhaps we remind ourselves every hour to spend at least 30 seconds or a minute in this withdrawing from the event we're in and spreading out. Withdrawing from the event we're in, recognizing we are in this event, we are the one watching, and then spread our consciousness out to the sides. Little trick, but it is relieving. It is relieving of every condition that we find ourselves in, whether we're too much, too busy, or too much, too isolated. Let this be a practice that we can use in this time, but now in this time where everything's amplified, it can bring us back to it repeatedly. And the distractions that have often been our solace when things get unpleasant, now we don't have those as much as we did. So we can turn now to this deep, abiding peace. Remember that not to judge yourself, but when you find something that is hurting inside, to love it. And as you love it, you bring a sense of quietude and peace. It makes it easier to look from the state of the witness and to be the presence. Remember, there is only one presence and one power in this universe and in my life, God, the good omnipotent. The Father and I are one. Put these phrases together and you will see that you are that presence that is everywhere, that is the source of all of it. Bring yourself to that through this simple practice of withdrawing your attention and letting your consciousness expand. This is my treat. When I need it, I hope it will be your treat as well. May you have a beautiful week. May it be a week in which you really see who you are, not what you're in. And so it is. Amen.
Lovely What a comfort it is in the knowledge that we are one with God and one with each other, especially during these times when we're having to stay apart from each other with social distancing and our virtual services. As most of you probably know, I'm Jane Johnson, and I'm a greeter at the 11 o'clock service. And I have to tell you, I really miss your smiling faces, your hugs, and the warm presence of your Christ Spirit. And I'm really looking forward to the time when we can meet together again in person. And I want to thank you for your generous contributions that have enabled us to continue to provide Neusom's inspiring messages and the beautiful music. And during the week, other opportunities for you to learn, grow, share, and stay connected. And speaking of staying connected, we have a cyber fellowship afterwards. It's a lot of fun, and the link is on the webpage if you would like to join us. Now let's confirm together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you again for your generosity. Have a great week, and we hope to see you back here again next Sunday. And here's your virtual hug.
We have come to the last part of our service, time to say goodbye. I want to say thank you for a wonderful talk. The energy of the service has been magnificent. And I would love to culminate today's service by sharing a quote that I think is very relevant to today's theme. It's from Ram Dass. It says, when you suffer, it seems like the suffering envelopes your world. Think of a framed picture of a cloud. If the picture is cropped too small, you see only the gray of the cloud. If the picture is cropped larger, you see the blue sky around it. And when you do, that's grace.
I was telling Anna when she said she was going to read that, I said, and the secret is to remember you are the sky in which the cloud appears.
May you stay in your beingness of this unlimited sky throughout the week and throughout your life. Thank you for...
Yeah, blessings to all.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with our in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyful vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
child, if you got your own, got your own.
I live when I'm away. So let's go there. Let's make our escape. Let's
Right makes right, so there ain't no use to fight. We kept fighting back for years, 'cause our land is here.
Water is wide, I cannot cross over, and neither have I wings to fly. Falling on my head, just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed. Nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head.
I met a man without a dollar to his name, who had no traits of any value but his smile. I met a man who had no yearning.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love.
Seems like overnight, she up and she put me down. I ain't gonna let it bother me today. I'm working.
Again, you better duck down the alleyway looking for a new friend. The man in the coonskin cap and big pen. With $11 bills, you only got 10.
Had just opened up the fridge. I stood there for the longest time, wondering why I did. Couldn't think of a single reason, so I finally closed the door. Then I wondered what I put in there. And did I want some more?
Sing your
When all the lights are low, boom de-yada, boom de-yada, boom de-yada, boom de-yada, I-yada, boom de-yada, I-yada, boom de-yada, I love nothing at all in my head to say to you, only the beat of the train I'm on. Nothing I've learned all my life on the way to you, only I love.
There are few words I can choose. How can I explain when words
I'm living my life, I'm carefree and cool, doing my job like I'm nobody's fool, when suddenly the light opens inside.